People of the internet, welcome back to another video. It is I, Don Thomas, back in here with another one. As always, folks, the likes, the comments, the subscribes are all greatly appreciated. Thank you so much for the support on this channel. Without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into today's topic, folks. I got a video pulled up here. It comes from CBS News, in which they entitled the video, Why Millennials and Gen Zers Feel Like They're Struggling More Financially. Of course, as you guys may know, on this channel, we talk about philosophy, self-improvement, and the culture. As of late, we've been talking about concepts of AI and male and female dynamics, right? Is college worth it? And trades and things of that nature. So being a millennial myself, being somewhat familiar with the Gen Zers, I felt like this video kind of struck my interest. Of course, I'll be sure to share my thoughts. I encourage you guys to share your thoughts down in the comment section below. Let's get into it.
This likely won't be a surprise to many of the millennials or members of Gen Z out there, but they're struggling more financially than older generations, according to several different metrics. One of many examples is the housing market. So take a look at this graph. According to real estate company Redfin, the median home sale price rose considerably over the last 5 years, at a time when younger generations are trying to get a foothold. Prices rose from just about $300,000 in April of 2020 to $438,000 last month. And financing a house costs more too. 5 years ago, the average 30-year fixed mortgage rate was about 3%. Last month, it was just under 7%. I want to bring in Javier David now. He is a CBS News contributor and business editor for the Dallas Morning News. Hey, Javier. So owning property, it's a way to invest, build equity. We stress out when we're not doing it. We think we should be doing it. But anecdotally, it seemed easier for older generations. The data backs it up, too. What's driving this?
Yeah, look, the key to understanding what is really happening here is inflation. It's the single biggest reason why everybody feels negative about the economy. It's why, by extension, all of these middle-class aspirations feel like they're either drifting away or become a burden. Shelter prices, like people can't afford to buy a house. They can't even afford to rent because high prices, mortgages, it's affecting everyone but millennials and Gen Z, primarily because they're in their prime earning and family forming years. It's affecting them more acutely. So they're not facing anything that anyone else hasn't faced in the years past, and they're trying to make it work, but it's just that much more difficult because of, again, this environment of rising prices that we're all having to deal with, but it's the likes of which we haven't seen in generations.
So let's stay on the topic of inflation, because CBS News polling from late March shows a majority of Americans say their income isn't keeping up with it, a whopping 76% to be exact. We know that recent inflation and wage reports have been positive, but a lot of people aren't feeling it. So what's at play here, and what needs to happen to turn the tide?
You're earning more, but it's costing so much more. The rate of what you're seeing in your paycheck, increase in your paycheck, is being way dwarfed or eclipsed by all of the ways in which, as a whole, as a society, we're all paying more money. Back in the early 2000s, we thought we had vanquished inflation. Workers were, so productive, and we had the globalization effect that made everything cheaper. Now all of that is being undone, and this sort of return of price instability is just shaking everyone's sense of calm. And that's what inflation does. It acts as like this stealth tax. It demoralizes you by the sheer weight of sort of everything you need and want being out of reach, and it contorts your sense of what's affordable for you and your family.
Just pause it right there, folks. I'm not shocked, are you? Makes perfect sense to me. Millennials are struggling, Gen Zers are struggling because our backs have been against the wall straight out the gate. Inflation is increasing. I saw a number. I want to pull that back up if I come across it, of course, as well, too. We've been hearing about inflation. We've been hearing about job layoffs. We've been hearing about so many different things, of course, as of late. And again, folks, this is a topic that I talk about frequently on this channel a lot as well, too. Just the affordability of things, right? We spoke not too long ago about how the middle class seems to be no longer, and how specifically in states like New York or New York City, as well too, other cities, these major cities that are almost pricing out the middle class, making it harder and harder for people just to be able to maintain the roof over their heads. There was a number that they shared here. If I can find it, I'll pull it back up, which I thought was interesting on a poll that they ran. Here it is. When they asked people, hey, do you believe that inflation is keeping up with your income? Look at these numbers, folks. Is your income keeping up with inflation? This was a poll that was ran by CBS News Polls. 76% of people, I don't know how large this poll was, but let's take it with a grain of salt. 76% of people said no, that their income is not keeping up with inflation, folks. So if the prices of everyday utilities and household goods and just, cost of living is increasing, but people's wages are staying the same, is there a shock why millennials can't afford a home, start a family, pay off student loan debt? I'm not shocked. Now, of course, some will say, oh, man, just learn a new skill, man. Go back to school and take on more debt, man, and do this, man, and do that, man. It's easier said than done in a lot of situations, man. Of course, another number that I thought was interesting at the beginning of the video. They mentioned just housing prices, right? And nowadays it seems whether you rent or own, it's still going to be a pretty penny to pay, regardless of whether you own the property or not. Whether you're choosing to live in a 1-bedroom apartment, 2-bedroom apartment, whether you're looking to buy a single-family home, a starter home, whatever the case is, it's going to be expensive to put a roof over your head regardless, folks. I saw a number here, of course. U.S. median home price rose substantially. I think they said, of course, over the years, you just see an upward trajectory, damn near $500,000 for house prices. Of course, these numbers I know, depending on where you choose to live, of course, are even higher than that. What's the solution, folks? Again, I'm not shocked that millennials and Gen Z are having a hard time staying afloat financially. Everything is super expensive. We never really had a full chance to save, I feel like, or overcome these major, life milestones. Again, starting a family, buying a home, graduating school, and then paying off for said school, purchasing a car if you need to purchase a car, childcare, healthcare, groceries, things of that nature. These are heavy financial tasks that one can overcome. Grown adults, let alone Gen Zs and millennials, maybe even some of the boomers are struggling with some of those same exact things. So it doesn't shock me at all that these numbers are showing that both millennials and Gen Z don't seem to have a solid footing under their feet when it comes to just taking care of the basic necessities of life, folks. And it's a little bit frustrating because I pose the question again, what is the solution? Now, of course, I spoke on this not too long ago in another video in terms of people finding alternative solutions to going to school. So, of course, if you're going to a traditional 4-year institution for college, maybe now people are interested in maybe taking on a trade, going to trade school maybe for a few years or a semester or two, whatever the case is, getting a certification. I myself am a huge fan of certifications because I do know plenty of people who aren't able to overcome the financial blows of taking out full loans that they seem to be paying for their entire lives. Student loans that end up being the same price as a house. 6-figure student loan debt that would have been easily your mortgage on a single family home, whatever the case is. You see? So it's just like, are we just left to make certain decisions? Do we have to choose? Do I want to start a family? Do I want to go to college? It seems like you can only pick one. It seems for us millennials and Gen Z, you got to pick one. Pick one 6-figure debt that you want to take on. Do you want 6-figure debt in student loans? Do you want 6-figure debt in childcare? Do you want 6-figure debt in buying a home? You want to get married? How much is that going to cost you? It's just like you got to pick one financial burden to take on because it's made it very clear the economy, the job market, that the job that you're even maybe banking on might not even be able to sustain you financially to take on multiple financial burdens. So it's almost like choose your poison, choose your financial burden wisely is basically the message that I'm getting from this video. And it's sad, folks. I chuckle a little bit, but again, being a millennial myself, as a man who's still trying to develop himself and figure out, find his way in the world and figure out all this stuff works, it's a little bit difficult. Finances, everything revolves around money. You need money to eat. You need money to save. You need money to invest. You need money to learn. How do we do that when jobs aren't paying? School's not guaranteed after college. Jobs aren't guaranteed after college. How do we win in this game is basically what I'm trying to figure out. I've said this plenty of times before as well, too. I feel like we've all been members of the Hunger Games where the rules are getting harder and harder in the environment, and there seems to be scarcer and scarcer resources, scarcer and scarcer solutions to maneuver through these waters. It's a little bit frustrating, folks. I don't know. It makes me kind of feel away. But those are my thoughts. Of course, I want to hear yours down in the comment section below. As always, the likes, the comments, the subscribes are all greatly appreciated. I will catch you guys on the next one.